Are you kidding? Come on, Piers, you know me better than that.
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to you being in the Epstein files, of course. There might have been girls that were abused, that is not the wording, but it was not a sex trafficking ring.
Ms. Hervey.
Behind the doors of the Dorchester, March 10th, 2001, something happened that nobody can prove. Or maybe something happened that somebody is still paying to keep quiet. The US Department of Justice just released 3 million pages from the Epstein files. 3 million. And yet, for Lady Victoria Hervey, the files don't answer questions. They raise them. She dated Prince Andrew for a few months in 1999, 26 years ago. A lifetime. But you wouldn't know it watching her now. She's become something the palace never expected. Andrew's last soldier, his only soldier really. While everyone else retreated into silence, she stepped forward and stepped and stepped until she stepped right off a cliff live on Piers Morgan's show. Victoria Hervey was never supposed to be this person. Daughter of the 6th Marquess of Bristol, half-sister to the 7th, sister to the 8th. Whatever all of that means, Virginia Giuffre's words, not ours. It meant something in 1999. She was young, blonde, photographed in the right clubs. Andrew was newly divorced from Fergie, looking for distraction. They dated briefly. It wasn't serious. It wasn't scandalous. It was just society. But when the scandal came, real scandal, the kind that strips titles and ends careers, Hervey didn't run. She dug in. Staff who worked with Andrew during the settlement years describe Hervey as a constant presence in his corner. Not romantically. Those days were long over, but loyally, fiercely, almost territorially. She acted like she was defending her own name, one former palace aide recalled. Not his. By early 2022, as Andrew prepared to settle Giuffre's civil suit, Hervey had already declared war. January 31st. Instagram. A complete whore. And then, because the class angle apparently needed spelling out, just a ghetto opportunist who seriously mixed up. Giuffre, reading that from whatever room she was hiding in, death threats were routine by then, wrote it down, remembered it, put it in her book. Nobody's Girl came out 6 months after she died. By then, Hervey had already moved from insults to implications. She's delusional, a fantasist, just how Ghislaine described her. The echo was deliberate. Hervey knew exactly what she was doing. If she could make Giuffre sound like Maxwell's victim-blaming, then maybe Giuffre's entire testimony would start to look like fiction. It almost worked. For some people, it still does. April 2025. The news broke fast, then faster, then went strange and quiet. Virginia Giuffre was dead, 41 years old. Her family said suicide. The police in Western Australia said early indications weren't suspicious. Hervey posted a link. When lies catch up with you, there's no way out. The backlash was immediate, brutal, unavoidable. Even for someone who'd spent years absorbing criticism, this felt different. This was a woman, a mother of 3, dead by her own hand. And Hervey's first public response was, she deserved it. Wow, she's a cold-hearted woman, one user wrote. No, lady, said another. Within 2 hours, Hervey posted again. A pause, she called it. A recognition that suicide is tragic, especially for a young mother with children. But here's what's important. She didn't delete the first post. It stayed up. The sentiment stayed up. The apology was for the timing, not the thought. And within weeks, she was back. Her death was extremely convenient. Dark forces are at play. Witch hunts. The language shifted from attack to conspiracy. She wasn't just calling Giuffre a liar anymore. She was suggesting the entire story, the abuse, the lawsuit, the settlement, the death was manufactured. She questioned whether Giuffre had really died at all. We never saw a body, never saw a funeral. Usually there's at least a covered stretcher, but this time we got nothing. Then she went further. I don't think Jeffrey Epstein is dead. Everyone is saying Israel. It was the kind of statement that, in any normal context, would end a public career. Instead, it earned her more bookings, more interviews, more chances to say the quiet part out loud. By February 2026, she was on LBC explaining her theory of the Epstein files.
Andrew has never carried a wallet in his life. He's got a wallet in his back pocket. There's many pictures of Jeffrey Epstein with the same trousers. Giuffre did carry a big wallet in his back pocket.
So you're saying the picture was faked?
There's nothing real about this image, Piers.
He knew everybody that was powerful. So if you were on the scene and you were powerful, to be honest, if you're not in those files, it would be an insult. It just means you were a bit of a loser. A few problems. 1, she's mentioned more than 20 times in those files. 20. So by her own logic, she's not a loser. She's what exactly? 2. Lisa Moorish was watching. Moorish isn't a conspiracy theorist. She's not a royal commentator. She's not even particularly public anymore. But she was there in the 90s. She knew the clubs, the circles, the people who orbited fame without ever quite landing on it. And she remembered Victoria Hervey. I remember us both being on the scene 90s clubbing, Moorish wrote. I thought you were a boring duck, but didn't seem to be a particularly bad person. Everyone thought you were naff as fuck love. Then, the real blow. Someone said you're doing all this because you're skint and haven't got a rich boyfriend to pay for your trips to Ibiza. You are disgusting. It was the first time anyone had publicly said what insiders had whispered for years. Hervey's crusade wasn't about justice. It wasn't even about Andrew. It was about relevance. And relevance in 2026 is expensive. The Marquess of Bristol title carries history, not cash. The old money is old. The new money went elsewhere. And Hervey, now approaching 50, was still showing up on TV, still defending a disgraced prince, still insisting that the dead woman was the real villain.
Ghislaine Maxwell, who's in that picture, knew that picture had been taken and it was genuine. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to now apologise for saying that it was a fake. Because clearly you were wrong.
Are you kidding? Come on, Piers. You know me better than that. So I spoke to Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer about that. It was a draft statement that had actually been...
Why? Moorish's anonymous source had an answer. It was the answer nobody wanted to say out loud. Until now. October 2025. Piers Morgan Uncensored. The first confrontation. Piers, to his credit, didn't dance around it. He asked directly, "Do you not think what you tweeted on a human level was utterly heartless?" Hervey didn't flinch. "I think the whole thing is such a joke. People believe the girl that said, 'Oh, I have 4 days to live.'" Giuffre had posted from a hospital bed, claiming kidney failure after a car accident. Hervey reposted it with a smiling selfie, and Europe's The Final Countdown as the soundtrack. Karma, she called it. Piers pressed, she deflected. The segment ended in a draw. But everyone watching knew this wasn't over. February 2026. 3 million pages. Hervey returns. She's got new information. A British girl reached out, claims she and her friend met Epstein and Giuffre at the Dorchester, March 10th, 2001. One was 13, one was 14. Giuffre lured them, made them lie about their age. They signed NDAs with Giuffre. And then, this is the part Hervey clearly thought would break the internet. David Boies paid them off. David Boies, Harvey Weinstein's former attorney, the man who represented Giuffre in her lawsuit against Andrew. Hervey was essentially accusing Giuffre's own lawyer of paying off witnesses to bolster her credibility. Piers's face shifted. He'd been indulgent before, skeptical but professional. Now he was angry. "Unless you have any evidence for that, I am not going to allow you to spew any chuck and bull conspiracy theory that has come to your mind." Hervey doubled down. "Once David Boies passes away, the floodgates will open." Piers, "David Boies might sue you. That's very serious defamation." Still, She wouldn't stop. I'm in contact with the Metropolitan Police via WhatsApp. They have information you're not privy to. It was the final straw, not because Piers believed the Met was briefing Hervey through encrypted messages, but because he realised she believed it. You know what, Victoria? With the utmost respect, I think you talk utter sart. I've known you a long time, but I think you have disappeared down a conspiracy rabbit hole. You don't give a damn about these girls and these victims. You think it's fine to smear all of them. She tried to talk about the calibre of the girls. He cut her off. I'm not letting you smear these victims anymore. Then, to his producers, just cut her off. The screen went black. There's a question nobody answered that night. Not Piers, not Hervey, not any of the commentators who dissected the meltdown in the days after. Why? Why spend years attacking a dead woman who can't defend herself? Why risk defamation suits, public backlash, professional isolation for a man she dated briefly a quarter century ago? Some say it's simple. She believes him. Andrew told her his version and she chose it. People do that. They choose the story that lets them sleep at night. Others say it's transactional. Relevance is currency, and defending Prince Andrew is the only coin she has left. But there's a darker theory, one that circulates in whispers, never quite spoken aloud. Hervey isn't defending Andrew. She's defending an entire world. The world of the 90s. The clubs, the parties, the private jets, the men with too much money, and the women who orbited them, hoping some of it would rub off. Epstein moved through that world. Maxwell hosted it. And Andrew, whether guilty or just stupid, was part of it. If Giuffre was telling the truth, then that world wasn't just corrupt, it was criminal. And the people who laughed with Epstein, who accepted his hospitality, who never asked questions, they weren't just guilty by association. They were guilty, period. Hervey never says that out loud. She doesn't have to. The screen went black. Piers moved on to his next guest. Hervey was left alone, somewhere on the other end of a severed video call, with nothing but her theories and her certainty, and the 20 mentions of her name in 3 million pages of evidence. The Epstein files don't prove she's wrong. They don't prove she's right either. They just sit there, 3 million pages of names and dates and transactions, waiting for someone to read them all. Hervey says the floodgates will open when David Boys dies. Maybe. Or maybe they're already open, and she just doesn't like what's flowing out. One question lingers, long after the segment ends. If Virginia Giuffre was lying about everything, if Andrew was innocent, if the Dorchester meeting never happened, if the photo was faked, if the lawsuits were shakedowns, then why did she die? And if she was telling the truth? Well, that's the question nobody on Team Andrew wants to answer. The monarchy moves on. Charles is king. William waits his turn. Andrew stays in Royal Lodge fighting eviction, hoping the scandal will eventually fade. But it won't. Not while Hervey keeps feeding the conspiracy machine. Not while 3 million pages sit unread. Not while a dead woman's children grow up without their mother. Karma, Hervey called it. Maybe she's right. Maybe lies do catch up with you. Maybe they already have.